If we want to have the mind of Christ, there were certain things that Christ would do and Christ will not do. There are certain patterns that Christ will take or will pursue, and there are patterns that he will not pursue. There are things that are characteristics of Christ Jesus, and there are things that he will never do. And one of the things that he said, and is in verse 1, he says that, is there any encouragement from belonging to Christ? Belonging to Christ. That you are for Christ, that you belong to Christ. Now, when it comes to belonging to Christ, he says that who has known the mind of God that he may instruct him. He says that when you go to 1 Corinthians 2:11, it says, no one can know a person's thought except the spirit that dwells in him. It says it's the same way that no one can know the thought of God except the Spirit of God. But he's saying that, but you have received God's Spirit, not the spirit of the world, such that you can freely know and understand the things that he has freely given unto you. That means that anytime that we belong to God, anytime that we take Christ, we get to know Christ. And as we get to know Christ, he immersed in us, us immersed in him, we get to know the mind of Christ. We get to know, we remove our hollow mind and we take on the mind of Christ, because our mind is full of wickedness, our mind is full of chaff, our mind is full of rubbish. The moment we start following Christ, what he says is that we belong to him, and he wants us to have his mind, such that our actions are not our actions anymore, but the action that Christ would take anytime. But you see, we live in a world that they promote and they say that, do you? I know you don't like what I'm saying. And they preach self-love, and you I know you post it that this year I know will grieve for anybody, and always, you see, the world has made it center on ourselves. Listen, he says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. You know, agree give anybody. You have to understand that Greek gives spirits, not men. We are not fighting men, we are fighting spirit. But you see, you walk in the flesh, so Greek give anybody. But I walk in the spirit, and it says that the spirit has always been in enmity with the world. It is not this year that I know Greek give the devil. Every year I'm on the neck of the enemy. He says that he has given us a name far above principalities and powers of darkness. He says he has given us the power to trample upon snakes and scorpions. That even when we step on them, when we trample upon them, we are still above. Listen, our legs are always on the neck of the enemy.